Five in the Dugout is sponsored by Woods Basement Systems.
We are joined by Mike Claiborne. Mike, I guess the story of the day is the performance by the starting pitcher, Quinn Matthews. What'd you think?
Well, he was pretty good for the first two innings. He had a walk and three strikeouts. Throw in Victor Scott's two-run performance today, and that was just about all she wrote. One of the things I always remind people about, especially at this time of the year, when you see the scores, look at what takes place for the first four, perhaps five innings, because those are the players that are going to probably have a better chance of being part of your ball club compared to the other guys who are getting ready for 2026 or perhaps 2027. Today, Max Scherzer was good. The Toronto starting pitching was good, as well as their bullpen. Cardinals couldn't come up with any hits, but it was a good day for Matthews and Victor Scott.
Okay, let's break them down one by one. First, Matthews, what did you see from the minor league pitcher of the year?
Well, he has great mound presence. He stands there and he has real confidence in his skill set. And I think when you have a young man who went to college and played had a good career in college, and then you see what he's been able to do so far in the minors as he's been able to ascend, he has a lot of confidence in his skill set. And once you show confidence, the hitter has to have something to think about as well. And I think that was the real presence I saw today, pitching around a walk, three punch outs. Now, he's a swing and miss guy, but he also can make you put it on the ground as well. So he has a lot of tools that I think everybody will be interested in as he gets more seasoning.
And in terms of his stuff, Mike, he's not overpowering, although he does throw in the mid-90s. He throws 4 pitches for strikes, doesn't he?
I'd rather have a strike thrower than a flamethrower in his situation. And being a lefty, Frank, you can name the lefties on one hand who could really throw hard, but they had great location. They knew how to change speeds, and Quinn Matthews kind of falls in that category. Having 4 pitches as a starter is certainly a plus. And if he can master those pitches and be able to throw them at any count, man, you may have yourself something special.
All right, let's talk about Victor Scott. 2 hits today, including some power. First of all, why is he in left and Lars Nootbaar in center? What do you think?
They want to get Lars Nootbaar as many reps in center field as they can. They feel like he may end up being your opening day starter in left field if Nolan Arenado is still here, and they want to make sure he gets some reps. And quite frankly, that's a position he hasn't played a lot of here in St. Louis. So it would behoove him to get as many opportunities in center field as he can. And when you have Victor Scott playing in left field, and he can play the corners, he can play all 3 positions in the outfield. Although he's come up as a center fielder, man, that takes away a lot of space in the outfield because he can cover.
All right, so what do we know about him offensively? What type of improvement have you seen, and what are they striving for with him?
Well, they wanted to put the ball on the ground and hit line drives. Last year, he was in the air too much, and he got himself out more than most pitchers did. This year, he's simplified things. He's worked with Brant Brown. He's been in Jupiter, Florida for the most part of the winter, going back and forth between Atlanta and Jupiter. So he's really worked on his game and really simplified things, Frank. He's a guy that has power. That's the one thing about him. I think he can hit as many as 15 home runs. I think he can hit as many home runs as Mason Wynn, but that's not where he's going to make a living at. If you have a guy in his position where you can hit double digits in home runs, but make sure you get on base, that's more important than hitting the home runs if you're a Victor Scott.
And he has drawn his walks, at least in the minor leagues.
He has. He has a pretty good eye. I think the game was really fast for him last year. When he started off in spring training, he was hitting fastball after fastball after fastball. And then all of a sudden, they started throwing him more breaking pitches, making him wonder about what his strike zone looks like. And once he started to settle in and figure a few things out mechanically, and he does have a little bit of a different stance, his hands are in a different position than what they were last year. And today with the home run, that was a pitch on the inside corner. He had no choice but to pull it. But the other pitch that he had for the triple, that's the pitch that you're looking to see him have more success with, hitting it into the gaps, hitting it to center field, because once the ball hits the ground in that part of the ballpark, he may be standing up at third base before it's all said and done.
But getting back to your earlier point, we're just 4 games in. Many things can change, but by putting Nootbaar in center, it makes you think that Nolan Arenado is going to be your third baseman, and Nolan Gorman's going to be your second baseman, and Brendan Donovan's left, and Lars Nootbaar is in center. Or it's just hey, we're going to try this for today.
Yeah, I think it's more of a look-see. when you think about all the left-handed bats you just mentioned, your options are rather limited. So I think what you'll see if the season comes down to what we saw the last couple of days, you may see more individual matchup situations on what a hitter does against a certain pitcher, whether he's a ground ball pitcher or whether he's a fly ball pitcher. What sort of success does he have? Is he a guy that stays in the strike zone? There's so many intangibles that will go into how that lineup is made up should Nolan Arenado still be here. Granted, Nolan Arenado is a plus player. He still is. He can help your ball club. So if you have to keep him, it's not all bad. Now, what it does is stunt the growth of some other players, but until that point, you have to go with what's going to give you the best opportunity to win baseball games.
Any thoughts on the robotic umpire?
So far, so good. I had a chance to visit with the commissioner yesterday, Rob Manfred, and I asked him what's been the general response. He said, well, it's really more positive than we anticipated. He said, now some of the veteran players are balking at it somewhat because they really don't understand it as well as far as when, where, and how. But many minor league players have already played with it. So it's not really a challenge for them to be accustomed to how this thing works. Remember, only the pitcher, the batter, and the catcher can call for the challenge. You can't get any help from the dugout. You can't get any help from the infield. Those are the only ones that can be recognized by the umpire, and it has to be almost spontaneous. There's no stepping out, thinking about it. Call it, or let's move on.
And a final thought. Max Scherzer, 40 years old, with the Blue Jays, a team that likely won't win. He's done everything, including win. What's the point?
He likes playing baseball, plain and simple. He likes to play. He thinks he can compete. He thinks that Toronto's a better team than people are giving them credit for. And when you look at their lineup, they're not bad. That's just a very challenging division that they're in. When you think about Boston and New York, and you think about what other teams like Tampa have started to do, I mean, it's a very competitive division. Baltimore showed a little flash last year by getting into postseason. It's a very crowded division, but Max Scherzer can pitch well enough that if that team isn't good enough for him at the trade deadline, I can tell you there'll be some teams that might be interested in his services.
And with all due respect to Jerry Royce and Mark Burley, he's the greatest pitcher to ever come from St. Louis, correct?
I think he's on a short list. I'm going to go Tony La Russa here and say tied for first because somebody might come through my mind, and they don't come through my mind as we speak. But Max Scherzer is certainly in that conversation with all of his accomplishments. He's a Hall of Famer. The other ones weren't. So I think in that situation, Max Scherzer is probably your guy.